Hi friends, welcome to Everstudy Classes. So in this video we are going to continue our discussion on the past 5 MCQ series which we have started for UGC Net Commerce Examination. So as a part of this series we are regularly discussing 5 important MCQs which have been asked in the past year papers and which have a very high probability of being repeated in the future also. So that's why we are covering all these questions in a very holistic and comprehensive manner. The topic for today is international business. Now before proceeding to our discussion, let me quickly tell you about the courses which the Everstudy Classes is running for UGC Net Commerce. Now we are running both free as well as paid courses for UGC Net Commerce, and in the free courses we have a free mock test which is a computer based test on the latest pattern and on the latest mode which is going to be employed in the UGC Net NTA examination. So you can appear for this computer based test and get a feel of what it is going to be like when you appear in the final examination. Also, we are having a past year analysis discussion section in which we are regularly discussing past year questions, and this particular video is also part of that series, and all the PDFs of this series are available in this course of ours. And also we are running unit wise glossary, and in this particular series we have a unit wise glossary in which we have picked up important terms from each of the units, and we have written them in a very simple manner with proper examples and proper diagrammatic presentations so that you can grasp these terms in a very comprehensive and a very easy manner. Now apart from our free courses, we are also running these paid courses on test series for UGC Net Commerce. Now we believe that a practice makes the man perfect. So we believe that you should practice as many questions as possible, and these questions should be based on the UGC pattern and they should be based on the same mode in which you are going to appear in the final examination. So for this particular purpose we have provided you a computer based test series, and we have two set of test series. One is a full length mocks test series in which we are having 6 full length mocks for rupees 499. So these test series will have 600 questions and they are going to be based on the latest UGC Net pattern, and you are also going to get detailed solutions with explanations, and in case of any query you will always have the faculty support with you. And in the other course we are having a complete test series in which we are offering 12 unit wise tests of 100 questions each and a 6 full length mock test also containing 100 questions each. So you will have a total of 1800 questions in this test series, and they will also be on the same lines. It will be a computer based test. You will get the detailed solutions and faculty support, and this one is priced at rupees 999. So let's start with the first question. Which one among the following is not a part of the TRIPS agreement? Options are industrial design, geographical indications, interior design, layout designs of integrated circuits. So friends, in order to answer this question, we must be aware about this TRIPS agreement. Now this TRIPS agreement is related to WTO, and this TRIPS, it is short for trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. So this is mainly concerned with protection of intellectual property rights with regard to trading among the member countries of WTO. So WTO wants to make sure that these intellectual property rights, they should be protected, and it seeks to lay down minimum standards for protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights in member countries. For example, if there is a copyright, it should be protected among all the member countries of WTO. So for this purpose, certain minimum standards, they are required and they are covered under this TRIPS agreement. So we are all aware about the intellectual property rights. They are the rights which are given to the persons for their creativity or innovation. For example, copyright is one of such intellectual property right, and this is an agreement which is under the aegis of WTO, which is a very important aspect, because a question can be framed that TRIPS agreement is an agreement under the aegis of, and we may be given different sets of options like World Bank, IMF, etc. So we must be aware of that this is an agreement under WTO. Now what all are covered under the TRIPS agreement? Under the TRIPS agreement, the intellectual property rights which are covered, they include copyrights, trademarks, patents, geographical indications, and industrial designs. So they are very simple, very important, and I believe you all must have heard about these terms, except the geographical indications. These indications, they indicate any particular characteristic of any commodity which is associated with any geography. For example, the Nagpur orange, so it will be associated with Nagpur. For example, Tirupati laddu, so it is associated with Tirupati. So these are the kind of geographical indications, and these all sets of intellectual properties, they are covered under the WTO agreement. So friends, now we can easily answer this question, and that which of the following is not a part of TRIPS agreement? This is interior design. So interior design is not a part of TRIPS agreement, and it's very simple and logical also. Why would interior designing would be covered by WTO? WTO should be concerned about the things at the global level which are impacting the global trade. So all others are going to be covered, but not the option number 3. Now let's move to the next question. Which one among the following is not correct? Options are: IMF's headquarters is in Washington DC. IMF has 198 countries as its members. IMF is an outcome of the Bretton Woods Conference. IMF was founded on July 7th, 1944. So to answer this question, we must be aware about the basic characteristics of IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. Now, International Monetary Fund or IMF is an organization of 189 countries. So you cannot say 198. The words cannot be interchanged. It is 189, not 198. So IMF was conceived at a UN conference which was held in Bretton Woods in New Hampshire, United States. So there was this conference which was held in New Hampshire, US, and this is popularly referred to as Bretton Woods Conference. And under this conference, IMF and World Bank, they were conceived, and they were popularly referred to as the Bretton Woods Twins. So IMF, it was conceived in July 1944, but it formally came into existence in 1945. So if you look at the different features of IMF, then it is an international financial institution, and it was formed in 1945, though it was conceived in 1944, and its headquarters, they are situated in Washington DC, US, and its objective is to promote international monetary cooperation, facilitate international trade, foster sustainable economic growth, make resources available to members who are having balance of payment difficulties. So these are the different objectives of IMF. It wants to make sure that there is international monetary cooperation, and if any member is facing from balance of payment difficulty, it is not having adequate forex reserves to meet its import obligations, then IMF is also going to help in this regard. And further, it is in general concerned with overall sustainable economic growth of the countries of the world. So this is broadly the objective of IMF. So with this information, we can easily answer this question, that IMF has 189 and not 198 countries. So this is the statement which is not correct. That is option number 2 is the answer. Now let's move to the next question. So there are two statements which are given. Served from India scheme, SFIS, has been replaced with Service Exports from India scheme, SEIS. The second statement is, the rate of reward under the Service Export from India scheme would be based on a net foreign exchange earned. So the codes with regard to options, they are: statement 1 is correct but 2 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct but 1 is incorrect, both are incorrect, or both are correct. So to answer this question, we must be aware about this Service Exports from India scheme or SEIS scheme. So Service Exports from India scheme or SEIS is one of the exports from India scheme. The other one is Merchandise Exports from India scheme, which is applicable for export of goods. So this scheme has been launched by Director General of Foreign Trade under the Foreign Trade Policy 2015-20 to replace the previous scheme, which was Served from India scheme. So this is an scheme which is associated with the Foreign Trade Policy 2015-20. And the objective of the scheme is to incentivize service exporters, the people who are exporting their services, with the objective to encourage and maximize the export of notified services from India. So under these Service Export from India regulations, which has been specified under the FTP policy, certain services have been notified, and it has been provided that any person who is engaged in exporting these notified services, they will be getting incentives from the government. So this is the service export from India scheme. Now the incentive or the rewards which are given, they're not in the form of cash or money. So this is important that they're not given in the form of money, rather they are in the form of duty credit scripts. Now duty credit scripts, they are a kind of coupon and they can be used to pay different sets of taxes and duties to the central government. So this is more or less similar to the coupons which we get from Domino's and Pizza Hut. Like we can get pizza free next time we visit these kinds of stores. So these are a kind of duty credit scripts only, and in this case they are used to pay different sets of taxes to the government. And the service providers who are providing these notified services, they are entitled to these duty credit scripts at notified rates, which is calculated on the basis of the net foreign exchange which they have earned. So we consider the net foreign exchange earned, we apply the notified rate, and we get the benefit which is to be given to these service exporters. So friends, now we can easily answer this question that both these statement, that is SFIS has been replaced with SEIS and the reward is based on net forex earned. Both these statements, they are correct. So the answer is going to be option number 4. Now let's move to the next question. Which one among the following has the largest share of exports from India? Options are agriculture and allied commodity, gems and jewelry, handicrafts, electronic goods. So to answer this question, we must be aware about the top exports which are being made from India. So in this regard, the following table is relevant. So it is giving us a picture of top 10 exports from India in the last year. So you can see the largest item which is here is gems and precious metals. So this is the highest export item of India. Next, there are fuels, there is machinery, there are vehicles, chemicals, pharma, iron and steel, clothing, machinery, and further accessories with regard to clothing. So these are the different items of exports, and on the top we are having gems and precious metals. So now we can easily solve this question that the largest share of exports from India is of the gems and jewelry. So the correct answer is going to be option number 2. Now let's move to the next question. Match the items of list 2 with list 1 to identify the correct code which are related to the legal forces which are affecting international marketeers. So this seems to be a bigger question, and that's why we've eliminated the options as of now. We just want to focus on the question and the different terms mentioned here. So the different terms which are mentioned, they are tariff, import quota, local content law, local operating law, standards and certification, and boycott. So these are the terms which are mentioned here, and we are being asked to find the correct meaning of these terms from the second list. So let's try to understand the meaning of these terms so that we are able to correctly match the terms with their answers. So first is a tariff. So tariff is a kind of tax which is levied by the government on the goods and services which are imported from other countries. So tariff in a way increases the price of those goods which we are importing and is imposed to make these goods less desirable and less competitive as compared to the domestically produced goods in a domestic country. So this is about tariff. It is simply a tax on imports. Next is import quota. Now import quota is a type of trade restriction. Now when we talk about import quota, we are talking about a physical limit which is set up on the quantity of goods that can be imported into a country in a given period of time. So here we are setting up that only rupees 1 lakh worth or only 10,000 kg of sugar can be imported into India. So we have imposed this import quota. So this import quota can be fixed in terms of quantity or the value of the product. So we can either provide that 10,000 kg of sugar, or we can provide 1 lakh worth of sugar. We cannot be imported more than that from any other country or from any specific country, say US or China. Next is standards and certifications. So these provide that the requirements which are to be complied by the products so that they can be tested and certified as meeting their restrictive standards. So these are the standards which are provided that the international marketeers, they have to comply with in order to make sure that their good is eligible for being marketed in another country. So these are the standards and certifications which have to be complied with. Next is local content law. Now this is often in the news, and this is about a law or the regulation which provides that a certain proportion of the finished goods, components and labor must be provided by the importing country. For example, if India is importing iPhones, India may provide that the battery of the iPhone should come from India. So this is a local content requirement. Next is local operating law. Now it is a restriction on how, when or where the retailing can be conducted. For example, it can be provided that Apple can sell its iPhones only in big metro cities. So it is a restriction on how they can operate, how they can retail or sell their products. So this is local operating law. Next is boycott. Now boycott is something which we are completely boycotting. We are not considering that item. So it means refusal to buy products with regard to a particular company or a particular country. For example, we may boycott Chinese goods. So this is about refusal to buy Chinese goods. So friends, now we can easily match all these terms, and we're just providing you the answer. You can easily match these by just you can pause the slide and try to match these, and you'll get the answer as option number 3. So friends, this was all about our discussion on the past 5 MCQs with regard to UGC Net Commerce. Thank you friends. If you enjoyed watching this video, please like the same, subscribe to our YouTube channel and share it with your friends. If you have any query, you can drop a mail at hello@everstudy.in, or you can follow us at facebook.com/Everstudy Classes. You can also join us on Telegram, and our Telegram channel's link is t.me/Everstudy.